Exposed, my sister's incredible betrayal. Discover how I found hidden strength at their wedding. Emily stood behind the bar at Maplewood's fanciest venue, the sun glinting off luxurious chandeliers while her heart bled at the thought of her sister's wedding. The emerald satin draped over the tables looked splendid against the orange autumn leaves outside, but the joy was lost on her. For weeks, she had poured every moment into making Sarah's big day perfect. Yet, here she was, weary from late shifts and overwhelmed by the weight of expectations. This wedding was supposed to symbolize family, and now, it felt like a gold-plated cage. As guests chuckled and clinked glasses, Emily noticed her sister's radiant smile and the way affluent friends surrounded her, showering her with attention. A part of Emily wanted to wipe that smile off Sarah's face. How could she bask in such extravagance while her older sister toiled? It wasn't supposed to be this way. The sacrifices Emily made to fund the wedding gnawed at her, the dreams of her own life and career slipping further away with each hour served. But it was when she stumbled upon the secret betrayal that everything inside her broke. Emily overheard Sarah and their manager discussing the promotion she had earned but wasn't given, all because Sarah had manipulated her way in. The electricity in the air crackled as reality smacked her across the face. Betrayal pierced deeper than any knife. Emily swallowed hard, remembering their father's pride in hard work and compassion. Before she could collect herself, chaos erupted from the entrance. A disheveled veteran, with weary eyes and a heart full of hope, stepped into the spectacle of wealth. "Please, can anyone help?" he pleaded, his voice breaking the jubilant chatter. Like a cruel twist of fate, the lavish guests turned their gazes away, whispers of disdain dancing in the air. The very scene twisted around Emily's stomach, a harsh reminder of the stark divide between their privilege and that man's desperate need. It was a wake-up call she couldn't ignore. As the disappointment settled into every crevice of her heart, a spark ignited inside her father's lessons swelling back to life. Courage bubbled up, compelling her to stand. "This isn't right," she shouted, catching the attention of those nearby. "You all need to look around. It's not just about us today." Emily's words flowed with fervor as she implored her sister and the guests to realize their responsibility beyond these walls of wealth. Before she knew it, she was at the center of a brewing storm, her sister's friends fuming at the disruption. The wedding atmosphere trembled, and the laughter turned silent. Sarah's face turned pale, shock mingling with embarrassment. "Emily, stop this," Sarah hissed, her voice barely a whisper. But Emily was caught in the current of emotions. Anger and hurt spilled out, laying bare the decades of unspoken fears and joys that once knit them together. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." And just then, a wave of silence cascaded over the crowd, the chaos momentarily subsiding. Emily could feel her heart racing, a mixture of fear and hope flooding her veins. Could she risk losing her sister's love, or would this confrontation spark something new? As Sarah stared back, a world of emotions danced through her eyes: rage, confusion, and just maybe, a hint of understanding. The line between love and betrayal blurred. Emily's voice cracked as she asked, "Can our bond endure this truth, Sarah?" Standing at the epicenter of a family earthquake, Emily realized she was confronting more than just her sister's betrayal. She was battling a lifetime of sacrifice. A single question loomed large in the air: could they redefine their relationship amidst this storm? The silence weighed heavy, a thick curtain of uncertainty wrapped around Emily as the eyes of the wedding guests bore down on her. It felt like a spotlight, illuminating not just her words but the rawness of her heart. Her pulse thundered in her ears, drowning out the laughter that had once filled the room. Sarah's expression shifted, a flicker of vulnerability breaking through her composed facade. Emily noticed for the first time how strained her sister looked, the meticulous makeup unable to fully mask the turmoil beneath. You don't understand," Sarah finally whispered, drawing the attention of a few lingering guests. "I did this for us. For our family. For us?" Emily's voice dripped with disbelief. "You took my promotion. You stepped on my dreams without a second thought." The words were harsh, but they were true, slicing through the vapid air of the reception. An inexplicable mix of anger and resolve surged within her. The guests visibly shifted, some looking uncomfortable, others strangely intrigued by the unfolding drama. Then from the back, a voice broke through the tension. "Your family?" It was the veteran, still standing, his worn face now lined with concern rather than pleas. "What about my family? You think you're the only one sacrificing?" A collective gasp rustled through the crowd. Emily's heart sank yet lifted at the same time. Here was a man who had probably faced death and joy alike, standing in that opulent space, reminding everyone of a better kind of sacrifice. "I'm fighting for my life every day," he continued, voice strong amidst the fading notes of the wedding music. "We all have our battles, and it takes both strength and love to navigate them." Sarah faltered, her expression shifting from embarrassment to reflection. Emily watched as her sister's shoulders tensed and relaxed in rapid succession, revealing the push and pull of sisterly love tangled and hurt. Think about what Dad would have said," Sarah started, her voice cracking with nostalgia. "About family sticking together? About sharing our blessings?" Emily felt warmth creep into her chest, both for her sister and the wisdom their father imparted. "But we can't do that while covering up wrongs," she countered, her voice softer now, fragile like the silk tablecloths beneath them. "We have to be honest with each other. We owe each other more than this." More murmurs rippled through the crowd. The guests, once only spectators to this drama, were suddenly engaged, their eyes shifting between the two sisters and the veteran three individuals standing in stark contrast to the world around them. Emily took a breath, attempting to steady the storm swirling within her. "What we have isn't just a family, it's a responsibility to one another," she stated, this time with an edge of warmth and clarity. "Shouldn't that be the foundation of love? A foundation built on truth?" In the hushed aftermath, Sarah's face softened, the anger fading. "You're right, Em," she whispered, vulnerability lacing her tone. "Maybe I've lost sight of that. I'm sorry." Their eyes met, and for the first time, Emily saw not just Sarah's betrayal but a sister who was scared of the future, trying to navigate a life wrapped up in expectations. But before they could unravel the tangled threads of their relationship any further, a loud clap echoed from the back of the hall as an older woman stepped forward. "What a moment!" she exclaimed, her enthusiasm breaking the tension. "Maybe instead of returning to the comforts of wealth, we should follow the heart instead." Emily's stomach twisted. How had things shifted again, so quickly? Would they go back to ignoring the truth, the connection? Would she stand alone again? As the crowd erupted in a mix of applause and confusion, Sarah flashed a tentative smile. Emily felt a flicker of hope, but it was still shrouded in uncertainty. Rebuilding trust would take time, and it was anything but guaranteed. As the noise enveloped them again, a feeling of resolve settled over Emily. Maybe this was a turning point, but the question lingered, could they really start over? Or had the rift widened too much already to heal? The buzz of the crowd intensified, washing over Emily in waves, pushing her emotions to the brink once more. The echo of the older woman's words hung in the air like a challenge, igniting a fire she hadn't anticipated. Faces shifted, some filled with confusion while others whispered among themselves as they attempted to comprehend the charged atmosphere wrapped around the wedding festivities. Emily glanced at Sarah. Her sister's tentative smile, like a flickering candle in a dark room, filled Emily with a blend of hope and dread. Would this spark a new beginning between them, or was it just the calm before yet another storm? "Let us step outside," Emily said, her voice barely a whisper yet laced with urgency. She knew they needed air space to navigate the intricate web of feelings growing thicker between them like tangled vines. Sarah nodded, and they slipped away from the prying eyes of the guests, leaving the reception behind. The night air was cool against Emily's flushed cheeks. She inhaled deeply, allowing the crispness to ground her. They settled on a wooden bench under a flickering street lamp, the yellow light casting gentle shadows across their faces. "Do you really think it's possible to fix this?" Sarah asked, breaking the stillness. Her voice quavered, and Emily could see the fight in her hazel eyes, an expression that was once so familiar. "I want to believe it is," Emily replied, meeting her sister's gaze. "But it's going to take more than just apologies. We need to dig deep. We have to be honest." "I thought I was doing the right thing," Sarah confessed, her voice trembling. "I thought taking that promotion would help secure our future. That maybe you would understand." "Understand? You stole my future, Sarah," Emily retorted, the pain flaring up again. The hurt, though raw, was layered with something more profound: love, resentment, and an undeniable bond. She could feel the weight of their shared childhood pressing down on her, the echoes of laughter and secrets now mingling with bitterness. Tears formed in Sarah's eyes, and for a second, Emily's heart broke. She knew Sarah was not just a betrayer, she was a sister who had lost her way, who felt as if she was not enough. "I'm scared," Sarah whispered, breaking the short silence. "I'm scared of disappointing Mom and Dad, of disappointing you." Standing at the edge of vulnerability, Emily felt her own fears rise to the surface. "I'm scared too," she admitted softly. "But we can't let that fear tear us apart." As they exchanged glances, an unspoken understanding passed between them. The path ahead was fraught with uncertainty, but for the first time, Emily felt like they might be willing to travel it together. "I want to start fresh," Sarah murmured, reaching for Emily's hand. "Let us be the sisters we used to be." Emily squeezed her sister's hand back, the warmth spreading between them like a beacon in the darkness. "Yeah, I want that too." But then doubt flickered in her mind. Could they revive their relationship from the ashes of betrayal? Just then, a late-night breeze rustled the leaves above, carrying distant laughter and music back toward them. It was like a reminder that life continued, with its ups and downs. But was their bond strong enough to withstand the tempests ahead? "We have to promise to communicate," Emily said finally, her eyes catching the sincerity in Sarah's. "We have to be open. No more hidden truths." Before Sarah could respond, another voice rang out, cutting through the night air. It was the veteran from earlier, now approaching with a frail walk but purposeful stride. "Excuse me, ladies," he began, a grave look etched on his face. "But I couldn't help but overhear. I have something to share that might just change the game for both of you." Emily's heart raced with curiosity. What wisdom could this man offer? What if it could unravel the knots binding them and lead them to a deeper understanding? The veteran paused, his gaze shifting between the sisters, as if gauging the depth of their struggle. Emily could feel her heart pounding. She leaned forward, eager to hear what could possibly untangle the mess of emotions swirling between her and Sarah. "What is it?" Emily asked, her voice steady despite the whirlwind inside her. The old man cleared his throat, glancing up at the sky as if seeking inspiration. "Life is full of choices," he began. "Some lead to doors of opportunity, while others, well, they lead to heartbreak." His voice was low but resonant, carrying an echo of experiences long past. "I once faced a choice that nearly cost me everything. I was torn between my ambition and my family. In the end, I had to decide which mattered more." Emily's mind raced. Was he hinting at forgiveness? Redemption? Or perhaps revealing a deeper pain that echoed her own? "Sometimes we think we know what's best," he continued, "but we fail to recognize the collateral damage. I lost years with my family, time I can never get back. It took a lot of pain for me to learn that success isn't about climbing higher but about lifting those you love with you." A silence fell as his words settled in the air. Emily exchanged glances with Sarah, each of them wrestling with the reflection of their own past choices. Emily's heart ached for the years lost to resentment, guilt, and unspoken words. "Do you see?" the veteran said, his voice raising slightly in urgency. "If you both want to heal, it means confronting those decisions, facing the fear of what that truth might stir up. You may not like what you find, but it's the only way." Emily's throat tightened. Each word he spoke felt like a mirror reflecting the love and pain she held for Sarah. "It's true," she whispered. "We've been so afraid of what the other might think that we buried our pain instead of confronting it." Sarah's eyes gleamed with unshed tears. "I don't want to lose you, Emily. I never wanted any of this." The veteran nodded, a hint of satisfaction in his expression. "You don't have to lose each other. But it's going to take courage to stand together. You both need to let your vulnerabilities shine, even if it means exposing your deepest fears." Emily felt something shift within her. Could admitting these fears actually unite them? A rush of determination flooded through her. "We can't keep pretending everything is fine. We have to face this." "I want to," Sarah said, the quiver in her voice betraying her uncertainty. "Can we? Really?" "Yes." The word felt powerful in the stillness of the night. "I promise to be honest. I promise to listen." The older man watched them with a knowing look. "You won't get it right every time, but making these promises is the first step. Lean on each other, it's the only way to weather the storms ahead." As he moved to leave, Emily called after him, "Thank you. I didn't expect this wisdom from you tonight." He turned back, a soft smile gracing his weathered face. Sometimes the most unexpected encounters lead us to exactly what we need. With that, he walked away, leaving a lingering stillness behind him. Emily felt that stillness settling into her heart. "Did you hear what he said?" she asked Sarah, her voice barely above a whisper. "I did, and I want to try," Sarah replied, a mix of determination and apprehension in her eyes. With a newfound sense of purpose, they both grabbed onto this moment, planting seeds of hope in the fertile ground of their fractured relationship. But as they began to find their footing, another unexpected figure emerged from the shadows, casting a new challenge over the horizon, someone from their past, whose presence promised to stir old wounds and unearth buried secrets. What would this unexpected reunion mean for the sisters who were just beginning to heal? Emily strained her eyes in the fading light, trying to make out the figure stepping out from the shadows. The silhouette grew clearer, and her heart sank as recognition dawned. It was Mark, their former friend. The friend who had somehow turned into a ghost of their shared past, full of painful memories and unresolved conflicts. "Hey, Emily, Sarah," he called, his voice tinged with uncertainty, as if unsure whether his greeting would be welcome. Sarah stiffened beside Emily, instinctively taking a half-step back. Emily felt a wave of mixed emotions crash over her: anger, confusion, and a flicker of nostalgia. How could he just show up here, now, after everything that had transpired? "What do you want?" Emily's voice snapped like a brittle twig, the hurt behind it sharper than she meant it to be. Mark's brow furrowed, clearly sensing the underlying tension. "I came looking for you both. I thought maybe we could talk. There's something I need to say." "Talk?" Sarah echoed, her voice betraying the vulnerability edging its way back in. "You think we have anything left to say?" Emily shot her a sideways glance, worried that old wounds were about to be reopened. Yet, she couldn't ignore the way Sarah's shoulders slumped, a clear indication that she felt the pull of their shared history. "Please, just hear me out," Mark urged, stepping closer. "I know I messed things up. I was an idiot. But I didn't want it to end like this." A bitter laugh escaped Sarah's lips. "How do you think it ended, Mark? You turned your back on us. On me." "I know," he said, remorse sinking deep into his tone. "I didn't handle things well. I let my ambitions get the better of me. But I've changed. I've thought about this every day. I'm sorry." Emily watched Sarah's expression flicker, torn between anger and the yearning for closure. She felt similarly caught in a riptide of old emotions, battling the urge to lash out and the hope for reconciliation. "Why are you here now?" Emily pressed, fighting against the tide of memories threatening to sweep her back into their shared past. "After everything that happened, why now?" "Because I want to make things right," he replied sincerely. "I don't expect forgiveness. I just need to say what's been weighing on my heart. I didn't think I still had a chance, but seeing you both together it gave me hope." Emily exchanged a glance with Sarah, the expressions on their faces mingling hurt and curiosity. Mark's eyes were looking at them with heartfelt urgency. Perhaps this was the point where their past would either break apart or begin to rebuild. "If truth brings healing, we have to embrace it, right?" Emily spoke softly, feeling the weight of the moment. Mark nodded, his features reflecting both relief and anxiety. "I never meant to hurt you. I thought I was doing what was right for me, but it was all wrong. I was wrong about everything." Sarah's eyes glistened as she shifted, the defensive wall around her starting to crack. "It doesn't change what happened. It doesn't change how we felt. But, maybe we can hear you out," Emily interjected, her heartbeat quickening. "But there are things we need to sort through." Mark looked at them, a hint of hope flickering in his eyes as he took a step forward. "I'll tell you everything. You deserve the full truth." But as he opened his mouth to speak, a sudden commotion broke the evening silence as another familiar voice called out from behind him, sending a jolt of shock through Emily and Sarah. It was their mother, her presence bringing with it a storm of mixed emotions that neither sister was prepared to reckon with just yet. "What are you doing here?" she demanded, her tone sharp and protective. "You think you can just show up uninvited?" The air thickened with tension, leaving Emily wondering if their small moment of healing could withstand the unexpected chaos swirling around them. Would they be able to confront the truth they all needed to hear? Or would the past rip them apart once again? The words hung heavy in the air, wrapping the group in a suffocating silence. Mark looked over his shoulder, his face betraying surprise and a tinge of panic. Emily could see her mother's rigid demeanor cutting sharply through the fragile atmosphere they'd begun to build. "Mom, please," Emily started, her voice trembling slightly. "This isn't what it looks like. We're just talking." "Talking?" Her mother's voice rose, an edge of anger lacing her words. "I think you both know better than to get involved with him again." She took a step forward, her protective instincts flaring. "You don't need to hear anything he has to say. You've both moved on." "But we haven't." Sarah's unexpected interjection sliced through the tension like a hot knife through butter. "We haven't moved on, Mom. There's a lot that needs to be said." Emily felt warmth trickle through her at Sarah's unexpected show of strength. Her sister, always the one to retreat, was standing firm. A mixture of pride and hope surged within her. Mark shifted nervously, caught between their world and their mother's. "I just want a chance to explain. I made mistakes. Both of you deserve to hear me out. Why should we believe anything you say?" Their mother's voice dripped with disdain. "You have a way of saying what you need to, but actions speak louder than words. What good is an apology now?" Emily felt torn. Despite her mother's words, she couldn't fully dismiss the sincerity in Mark's eyes. "Mom, please let him talk," she said softly, trying to mediate. She met Mark's gaze, feeling a sense of solidarity creeping in. "Fine," their mother conceded, her tone still harsh. "You have 5 minutes. 5 minutes to convince me this isn't just some ploy." "Thank you," Mark replied, his voice barely above a whisper. He took a deep breath, his hands clenching at his sides as he glanced between Emily and Sarah. "I didn't just leave you. I left myself behind too. I got caught up in what I thought was everything: career, money, buying the perfect life. In the process, I lost sight of the people who truly mattered." Emily's heart raced. She could see the sincerity radiating from him, not just in his words but in the way his eyes pleaded for understanding. "That doesn't make it okay," Sarah cut in, her tone steadier now. "You can't just drop back into our lives and expect us to forget. It's not that simple." "I know," Mark nodded, his gaze earnest. "I can't change what happened, but I want to take responsibility. I want to own up to my mistakes. I want to earn your trust, if you'll let me." Emily felt the knot in her stomach twist tighter. It wasn't just about Mark's past actions, it was the sting of betrayal that echoed in her heart. The chance to find closure pulled at her, but at what cost? Sometimes, Sarah began, her voice softer now, people need to fail to truly understand what they've lost. Are you saying we should let you back in? Emily asked, almost afraid of the answer. Mark's eyes widened, earnestness turning into desperation. I'm saying I want to be better. I want to show you I can be that person again. It won't happen overnight, but I'm here. I don't want to lose you both again. The air buzzed with unspoken feelings and lingering doubts. Could they really find a path to healing when their mother stood as an unyielding guardian to their hearts? Just as Emily opened her mouth to reply, a loud crash echoed in the distance, pulling their attention. It was coming from the old barn, the one filled with memories they had all tried to bury. Did you hear that? Sarah's eyes widened, panic gripped Emily's heart. What was that? Mark and their mother turned, faces drained of color, as if they sensed something darker lurking just beyond their circle of vulnerability. What if that's just the wind? Mark suggested, his voice unsteady. Emily shook her head. Whatever it was, it felt like an omen of things to come. She couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning of something deeper, something they never saw coming. With fear creeping in, she caught a glimpse of the past threatening to flood back in. Everything felt like it was teetering on the edge of revelation, a precipice waiting to spill secrets they weren't ready to confront. What are we going to do? Emily asked, her heart pounding as hope both blossomed and wilted within her. Something stirred, and she wasn't sure if it was a warning or a sign that they needed to brace themselves. In that moment, the call for courage grew louder than ever. Would they face it together, or would they allow fear to divide them once more? The barn creaked ominously, its old wooden framework shuddering in the wind, as the siblings remained frozen, hearts racing in unison. Emily lifted her foot, ready to step forward, when Sarah's trembling hand gripped her arm. I don't like this, Sarah whispered, glancing at their mother, whose expression morphed from anger to apprehension in a split second. Mark, lingering just outside the circle of looming confrontation, seemed to sense the edge of danger as well. We should check it out, right? Just to see if everything's okay? He suggested, but the urgency in his voice felt hollow in the thick air of uncertainty. This isn't right, their mother declared, her voice laced with the protective instincts of a warrior mother. That barn hasn't been used in years. It could be dangerous. But Emily felt anchored by an invisible tug of curiosity or perhaps by fear of their unresolved emotions spinning out of control. We're already here, she said, turning toward the barn. We need to see what it is. Mark took a step forward, his eyes still locked on Emily, almost begging her to reconsider. Emily, please don't, their mother warned, stepping in front of Emily as if shielding her from a sight that could break them. This could be a mistake. I won't let fear dictate our actions, Emily challenged, her own voice surprising her with its determination. Mark's gaze brightened with something like admiration, which gave her the courage to lift her chin slightly. For a heartbeat, all was still, the wind paused as if contemplating the confrontation unraveling. With a collective nod among the sisters, they began to move toward the barn, their mother reluctantly following. As they pushed through the creaking doors, a blast of stale air wrapped around them, carrying hints of dust and forgotten decades. Flickering beams of sunlight filtered through the rotted wood, illuminating long-forgotten memories. The space was empty except for scattered tools and an old, rickety tractor. Then they heard it again, the sound, a low groaning as if the barn itself had exhaled in agony. Fear coiled in Emily's chest as they surveyed the room for the source. Just then, a shadow flitted across the far wall, drawing their focus. What was that? Sarah breathed, her voice barely above a whisper, eyes as wide as saucers. I don't know, Emily ventured, her heart hammering against her ribcage. Mark? Mark stepped ahead, pulling out his phone to light the dark corners of the barn. The glow illuminated the debris, revealing nothing out of the ordinary, or so it seemed. Until a sudden crash made them all jump, sending adrenaline racing through their veins. Go. We need to get out. Emily's voice rose, layered with panic and urgency. But as they turned, they found the exit partially blocked by an old wooden door, swinging slightly on worn hinges. Help me. Mark reached for the door, then hesitated, his eyes darting between the sisters. Wait, we can't leave, we have to find out what this is. With every ounce of clarity, Emily stepped closer. If we're going to face this, we need to do it together. Now. Right then, a loud thud boomed from the back, making the wooden walls vibrate. Adrenaline coursed through their veins, flooding Emily's senses. She was terrified, yet something else brewed an urge to stand tall, to confront whatever was buried here together. Stay close, she whispered, reaching for Sarah's hand while Mark kept his light focused ahead. They crept deeper into the barn, breathing shallowly and leaning into each other, feeling unity grow stronger. As they approached a crumbling wall, Sarah squeezed Emily's hand tight. Do you think it's a ghost? She murmured. It's worse than that, Emily replied, heart racing, as the wall began to shift, revealing a hidden door that had been long forgotten. It's our past, or maybe something we didn't want to find. Mark swallowed hard, uncertainty etched across his face. We need to find out what's behind it. Taking a deep breath, Emily pushed the door ajar, revealing darkness on the other side, where shadows danced like secrets waiting to be revealed. What if it changes everything? Sarah whispered, voice trembling. Maybe it has to, Emily said, heart pounding with both excitement and dread. Maybe we have to face it if we ever want to heal. With a shared glance, they stood on the brink, each tethered to the past, yet desperate for a future. As the door creaked open wider, a rush of stale air greeted them, breathing life into the unknown. What waited for them might unveil hidden truths or deepen the scars of betrayal. But right then, standing together meant they could face whatever lay ahead. What if there's no going back? Mark asked, just as hesitant. Maybe, Emily breathed, stepping into the darkness, but what if it sets us free? The moment their footsteps crossed the threshold, they knew they were about to uncover something that would change everything. The darkness swallowed the light behind them, isolating them in a world that felt both foreign and familiar. Emily's heart thudded in her chest like a warning drum as they took their first tentative steps into the unknown. A musty smell enveloped them, mingling with the familiar scent of hay and wood. Mark clicked his phone's flashlight on higher, casting long shadows on the rough walls. Each step echoed, a reminder of their presence, amplifying the tension that thickened the air. Do you really think this leads to something? Sarah whispered, her voice betraying a blend of fear and hope. Only one way to find out, Emily answered softly, though doubt tugged at her thoughts. As much as she wanted to believe that confronting whatever lay hidden here could heal them, was it too late for healing? The door creaked wider, and they squeezed through, entering a small, dimly lit chamber. The walls were lined with dust-covered boxes, each one a time capsule, maybe harboring pieces of their past they had long buried. Emily's fingers brushed against a box, the surface cold and rough, sending shivers down her spine. What if we're not supposed to be here? Mark's voice was barely above a whisper, his eyes darting around as if expecting something to leap out at them. Sometimes you have to break the rules, Emily said, recalling all the times they felt limited by the things left unspoken in their family. This could be our chance. Mark frowned, still clinging to caution. Yeah, but what if it tears us apart more than it already has? As Emily reached for a dusty box, she noticed Sarah staring at something on the floor. What is that? Sarah asked, her voice a tremor. Emily followed her gaze to a photo faded, creased, almost lost to time. She bent to pick it up, heart racing when she realized it was a family photo, one they had never seen before. This looks, she paused, brushing off the dust to reveal familiar faces. Their parents looked younger, happier. But next to their mother stood a figure Emily had never recognized. It felt like an intrusion into the memory reel of their childhood. Who is that? Mark stepped closer, peering over her shoulder. I don't know. Emily felt a knot tighten in her stomach. What if this is why we've been so broken? What if there is something more we don't know? Maybe it's better we don't know, Sarah said, anxiety flickering in her wide eyes, but before Emily could respond, a loud crash erupted from outside the barn, shaking the very structure beneath their feet. Mark jumped back, phone trembling in his hand, illuminating their panic-stricken expressions. "We need to go now." "Wait," Emily insisted. "We can't run away this time. We have to figure this out." "Not like this," Mark urged, eyes wide. "We have to stick together, but it feels wrong." "No," Emily retorted, anger and desperation swirling inside her. "How long are we going to let fear control us? We have to confront it, whatever it is." With a sigh, Mark nodded, realizing she was right. They were already too deep into this. "Okay. Just be careful." They leaned into the shadows of the chamber, their resolve stiffening, with the photo clutched tightly in Emily's hands. Each second felt like a countdown, and her heart raced with anticipation. They were standing not just at the threshold of a door but at the brink of a family secret, one that might unravel everything. As they examined the boxes, another muffled noise, a voice, drifted through the air. It was faint, but the sound sent a chill racing up Emily's spine. "Did you hear that?" Sarah asked, gripping Emily's arm. "Yes," Emily replied, breathing shallowly. "And I think we need to find out who or what is there." Barely aware of where they were stepping, they pushed further into the room. Secrets hung in the air, thick and tangible, waiting to be uncovered. And for the first time, the stakes felt high, not just for them, but for their family's very narrative. What lay ahead could break them even more, or perhaps, just perhaps, bring them closer than ever. As they moved toward the source of the sound, the shadows seemed to pulse with a life of their own, watching, waiting. "Are you ready?" Emily whispered, heart thrumming wildly. "Ready or not, here we go," Mark said, feeling a bond tightening among them. But would they find answers or deeper betrayal? As the darkness loomed ahead, the real question lingered: could they handle the truth? With trepidation pulling at their limbs, they stepped further into the darkened chamber. The faint noise persisted, a soft murmur that grew clearer with each step. Emily felt a surge of adrenaline course through her, brushing aside her fears. They couldn't turn back now. "Just the wind," Mark said, though his voice quivered. "No, listen," Emily insisted, her ears straining to catch the sound. It was something more than wind. It was a voice, wavering like a candle flickering in a draft. As they navigated around the boxes, Sarah caught Emily's wrist, grounding her, as a chill swept through the room. "What if it's our parents?" Sarah whispered, wide-eyed. "What if they're here?" Emily shook her head. "They wouldn't be. This place has been abandoned for years." The words felt heavy, even as she said them. It was possible, wasn't it? To find echoes of their past echoing back to them in this forsaken barn. They rounded a stacked set of boxes, and when they saw it, a faint light flickering at the rear of the chamber. It was as if it beckoned them closer, urging them to unveil whatever lay hidden in its glow. "What if someone's waiting for us?" Mark looked at Emily, his voice a mix of fear and curiosity. "Then we'll face them together," she replied, her heart pounding. They were a unit now, woven together by equal parts fear and determination. As they approached the light, the walls subtly brightened, revealing shadowy outlines that danced around the room. Sarah squinted, trying to piece together what they were seeing. "I think I can see a door back there." The shadows seemed to ripple with energy, and Emily's heart raced. "Let us find out." With each step, the murmurs grew louder, wrapping around them with urgency. They reached the end of the chamber, the air thrummed with something unexpressed. As they drew closer to the door, Emily noticed a rusted handle. It looked old, as if it hadn't been used in ages. "Should we actually open it?" Mark hesitated, his body language betraying his uncertainty. "Listen, I know we're scared. But we can't keep avoiding the truth," Emily said firmly, assuring not just Mark, but herself as well. "We deserve answers." With a deep breath, she took the handle in her hand, the cold metal biting into her skin. She turned it slowly, the creak of the door echoed like a low thunderclap in the silence. Fear trickled down her spine, but she pushed the door open wider. The flickering light spilled into the chamber, illuminating a small room filled with discarded treasure and forgotten memories. Broken furniture, cobweb-laden heirlooms, and reflecting the light a simple mirror leaning against the wall. A voice, almost a whisper, called from the depths of the room. "Help me!" Emily felt her breath catch in her throat. "Did you hear that?" Sarah nodded, tears forming in her wide eyes. "What if it's Mom?" Before she could answer, the light pulsated again, stronger this time, revealing a figure slumped in the corner. The room was thick with tension as they stepped closer, the murmurs drowning out all rational thought. The figure looked up, and Emily's world stilled. That it was a woman, with hauntingly familiar features and eyes that shimmered with fear and recognition. "Mom?" Mark's voice broke, trembling with disbelief as the light bathed their mother in an ethereal glow. But as their hearts raced with hope, a realization dawned on Emily. This wasn't a reunion of warmth, it felt like a reckoning. "Why did you leave us?" Mark's question hung in the air, fraught with years of unanswered pain. The woman opened her mouth, as if to speak, but no words came. Instead, she pointed to a trunk beside her that looked larger than the others. "What's in there?" Emily asked slowly, heart pounding. "Your truth," the woman mouthed silently, her eyes brimming with sorrow. The moment stretched, heavy with the weight of their history. Emily locked eyes with Mark and Sarah, disbelief coursing through them. What did that even mean? The trunk was their next step, but what if it exposed a truth that tore their bond apart? As Emily approached, every sense tingled with anticipation. Could it truly reveal the answers they had searched for so long? Her heart beat wildly against her ribs, a mixture of fear and hope intertwining. What would they find if they opened it? Tomorrow's truths awaited them, and they would change everything they knew. The air around them felt electric as Emily, Sarah, and Mark cautiously approached the trunk. Each step seemed to echo louder than the last, reverberating with the weight of their shared history and untold pain. They exchanged glances filled with a mix of apprehension and hope, united in the uncertainty of what lay ahead. Emily knelt before the trunk, her fingers trembling as she touched the worn wood. "This is it," she breathed. "Whatever's inside could finally give us the answers we've needed." The flickering light continued to illuminate their mother's face, her expression haunting yet somehow filled with love. "Do you think she knows what's in there?" Sarah whispered, glancing nervously at the shadowy figure of their mother. What if it changes everything?" Their mother's eyes glimmered with unshed tears, a silent affirmation that they had to confront whatever awaited them inside. Taking a deep breath, Emily grasped the trunk's rusted handle, glancing up at Sarah and Mark. "Whatever happens, we face it together. No more secrets," she declared, her voice steady. With a resolute tug, the trunk creaked open. Dust motes danced in the air as the lid lifted, revealing disarray within a collage of documents, photos, and small mementos buried beneath years of neglect. The light flickered anxiously, but amid it all, the shadows seemed to retreat, allowing space for discovery. "What is all this?" Mark asked, leaning closer. His brow furrowed as he sifted through the contents. These look like family records and letters." Emily's eyes widened as she pulled out an old letter, its edges yellowed with time. "These letters, they're from Dad," she gasped, recognizing his neat handwriting. "What's he been hiding from us?" "Read it," Sarah urged, her eyes glowing with curiosity yet apprehension. Feeling a rush of determination, Emily began to read aloud. The letter unfolded like a time capsule, revealing their father's struggles, fears, and hopes. He wrote of choices made in love, sacrifices that weren't always visible, and deep-seated fears of not being enough. "Something happened to my brother," Emily read, her voice trembling at the revelation. "He wanted to protect us from the truth to keep us safe." "What brother?" Mark interjected. "We don't have any other siblings," but Emily felt her heart race as she progressed through the letter. "He mentions a family tragedy, a secret that tore them apart." "This could explain so much about why she left," Sarah finished, the words trailing off as the weight of realization settled in. Their mother stepped closer now, her gaze pleading with them to understand. "I was running from the pain. I thought leaving was the only way to protect you," she murmured, her voice barely above a whisper. Emily looked up, her heart aching. "But you left us in the dark. We've suffered because of your silence." Anger and hurt bubbled up as she faced the truth of their absence, but there was a thread of compassion woven through her words. the figure of their mother trembled, tears now falling freely. "We all carry our burdens," she replied, voice breaking. "It wasn't just mine to bear. But you deserve the whole truth, not just fragments of our history." After a deep breath, Mark asked, "So what was this family tragedy? Is it something we can finally learn about together?" The words felt heavy on the tip of their tongues, Emily thought, yet they reminded her this was a path toward healing. As the siblings continued to sift through the trunk, they uncovered photographs of moments long forgotten, smiles and laughter shared, each image telling a story of family and connection. Emily, Sarah, and Mark felt memories flood back, each more precious than the last, weaving a tapestry they realized was built on resilience. When they stumbled upon an envelope marked for Emily and Sarah, they hesitated. "Should we open this?" Emily felt her pulse quicken, eager for answers yet fearful of the truth within. Together, Sarah whispered, squeezing her hand tightly, nervously. Emily opened the envelope, revealing a collection of heartfelt letters penned by their father, filled with explanations and apologies. His words echoed with love and hope, forging a bridge from their past to a future they could still shape. With every letter they read, the emotional walls they'd built started to crumble. Their mother, standing nearby, whispered, "I was wrong. Leaving you without the truth only created more pain. I was scared, and I allowed fear to dictate my choices." "Fear doesn't dictate us anymore," Mark asserted, his voice rising steadily. "Not when we have each other to lean on." As the letters wrapped around them in warmth, they surrounded their mother, offering comfort. "We're a family," Emily said, her heart full of hope, "and we're here to face everything together." Inside the trunk lay more than artifacts from their past. It held the promise of their future, a path paved with understanding, honesty, and love. Unraveling tears streamed down their cheeks, but they felt lighter, freed from the secrets that had haunted them for too long. In that moment, they recognized their strength as a united front. Emily looked up at her mother, her voice clearer than ever. "We are stronger together, and together we can navigate whatever comes next." With newfound hope lighting their way, they embraced. The shadows around them faded, casting aside the weight of yesterday, leaving only the warmth of their bonds solid and unbreakable. The vast unknown awaited them, but now they faced it hand-in-hand. As they stepped back into the world illuminated by the truth, the night felt alive with possibilities. "We're ready," Sarah declared, a hint of a smile breaking through. "Whatever comes next, let us confront it together." And they did, leaving the past behind, embracing a future where truth reigned and love triumphed. The sun was peering through the barn's creaky windows, a new dawn awaiting them outside. Hand in hand, heart to heart, they walked into the light, ready to face whatever the future held. Together. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending below. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share.